Some of BT's major customers. To keep these valued customers and win back others, BT need to offer a better range of quality products and services than our competitors. A new range of services only available from BT is now on offer to some of our larger business customers. FeatureNet. In this video presentation, we shall be looking at the concepts of FeatureNet and the two types of service offered to customers. FeatureNet 1000 and FeatureNet 5000. FeatureNet is a new network initiative that gives BT a fresh approach to providing a customer with private network facilities. The FeatureNet network is a high-functionality digital network. It has been constructed by installing Northern Telecom DMS 100 switches in BT premises at Birmingham, Leeds and London, and connecting them together with the existing digital core network. It will expand as demand increases. Before we look at how FeatureNet helps the customer, let's look at a typical private network installation. The traditional arrangement of a customer's private network is to have a private branch exchange, or PBX, located on each of the customer's sites and connect these together using rented private circuits. The customer can make telephone calls between extensions located at different sites using their private circuits. This saves the customer call charges which would have been incurred from the public network. This arrangement is used where call volumes are high enough so that these savings recoup the high setup costs. Once set up, the network cannot be modified easily. Costly engineering work is involved. Now let's see how FeatureNet 1000 can be used for this customer. The private circuits are replaced with connections known as access lines from each PBX to a DMS 100 switch on the FeatureNet network. There are two types of connection available: analog using AC15A signaling or digital using DP-NSS links. This will depend on the type of PBX being used by the customer. If a customer is connecting using DP-NSS, then the PBX facilities will be available throughout the customer's network. For both types of connection, the customer no longer has to concern themselves with maintaining the network links. This is managed for them by BT. The customer now has a virtual private network, VPN, and leases traffic volume capacity between the PBXs, which can be increased or decreased as required. That was FeatureNet 1000. Now let's take a look at FeatureNet 5000. FeatureNet 5000 offers customers the benefits of a modern, sophisticated PBX network without needing to purchase a costly PBX or incurring network costs mentioned earlier. Their telephones are connected to a FeatureNet 5000 concentrator using normal copper telephone lines. For a customer with a large number of extensions, the concentrator is located at the customer's premises. Smaller customers will be connected to a concentrator at their local telephone exchange via standard copper pairs. Connection is made to the concentrator via multi-terminating units, MTUs. These MTUs offer monitor and test access for engineers. Under normal operating conditions, a link is in place to make the connection between the SRU and the telephone wiring. In both cases, the concentrator unit is linked to the appropriate DMS 100 switch using optical fiber links. The concentrator is part of the network equipment and is maintained by worldwide networks. The type of concentrator currently in use is a small remote unit known as an SRU. The customer now has a virtual private service, VPS. From their point of view, their VPS operates in a similar way to a PBX. Each telephone is allocated a PSTN number and a local FeatureNet directory number, DN. To make calls between telephones on the customer's premises, the FeatureNet DN typically 4 digits, is used. These calls are routed through the DMS 100. If the customer has another site connected to FeatureNet 5000, calls may be made to it by dialing extra digits before the DN. To dial PSTN numbers, the customer will dial a digit to access the PSTN, followed by the national telephone number required. This is known as local breakout. For billing purposes, the call originates in the customer's local charge group. Remote breakout is another option. This allows the customer to make long-distance calls to a specified charge group at local rates. The FeatureNet customer benefits by saving money on PSTN charges without incurring capital equipment costs. Calls dialed to a FeatureNet number from the PSTN are known as break-in calls. Calls delivered to the customer's local charge group will be known as local break-in calls. FeatureNet can be set up for remote break-in. This allows PSTN callers in a nominated distant charge group to dial a FeatureNet number at local rates. Having explained the principle of remote breakout and remote break-in, I shall now introduce a term which some of you may have heard of: National Networking Channel, or NNC for short. An NNC is the term used to describe a billing facility. It is not a physical link between 2 points. A customer rents NNCs to join the centres of nominated charge groups together for billing purposes. This means calls made over these NNCs between specific charge groups are free. The NNC provides the network connection between customer sites and is used to provide remote break-in and remote break-out. For each NNC leased, one call at a time originating in Bristol can be made to Leeds at local rates. The number of NNCs needed is determined by the customer and will depend on their call usage for that route. If the number of simultaneous calls exceeds the number of NNCs, then these calls will overflow to the PSTN, incurring discounted PSTN call charges. NNCs are necessary to connect customer sites for both FeatureNet 1000 and 5000. Customers on a FeatureNet 5000 system will have hundreds of advanced PBX features available to them from the DMS 100, such as call diversion, conference, music on hold, and many more. From all these features offered, the customer can choose ones that best suit their business. Certain features can be grouped together so that they interact to produce complex service options, such as automatic call distribution, ACD. This is sold as a product in its own right. With FeatureNet ACD, the call queuing takes place on the network, so dedicated queuing lines to the customer's premises are not required. The customer can have access to an ACD Management Information System, MIS, to monitor and control the distribution of calls to their agents answering these calls. We have now seen FeatureNet 1000 and FeatureNet 5000, which are UK-based services. FeatureNet and other BT customers can access International FeatureNet, IFN, by leasing gateway channels to an IFN switching centre. Access to IFN allows calls to be made to specific countries at a reduced tariff. To summarise then, FeatureNet provides our customers with the following: a virtual private network using FeatureNet 1000, a virtual private service using FeatureNet 5000, savings on equipment and maintenance costs, a totally managed service, automatic call distribution, access to international FeatureNet, access to and from the public telephone network. Remember, each FeatureNet customer will be set up differently from the available features. No two systems will be identical. So, in order to give our customers the best service possible, everybody involved in the provision and maintenance of FeatureNet needs to be aware of this, and that when working on FeatureNet, they join a large team located throughout the country. Good teamwork is essential to provide customers with a quality FeatureNet service. This introduction has been the first step in explaining what FeatureNet is all about. The next three sections look at customer premises equipment, FeatureNet 5000 provision and commissioning, and maintenance procedures. You may wish to stop the tape at this point to review the accompanying booklet. Three types of specially designed feature phones are used with FeatureNet 5000. All have liquid crystal displays, indicators, and a loudspeaker. Features are programmed onto the function keys centrally by BT. The only programming that can be done on the telephone is the storage of automatically dialed telephone numbers. On all models, the bottom right-hand key is the primary line key. The brand name Meridian should not be confused with the Meridian PBX. This model is the M5209. The M5312 incorporates a microphone to allow hands-free conversation. On the M5212, a headset socket is provided. Up to 3 add-on modules can be attached to any feature phone, each giving an extra 18 function keys. This allows more features to be programmed onto the telephone. All feature phones require a power supply. A mains power transformer is used, and it connects to the telephone via a specially designed doubler that plugs into the telephone socket. The telephone will function normally if the power is disconnected for any reason, but the display will remain blank. Feature information is transmitted to and from the feature phones using high-frequency tones. These frequencies are out of the range of normal speech and cannot be heard by the telephone user. In addition to the feature phones, standard telephones can also be used with FeatureNet 5000. They should be set for MF signaling and time break recall. FeatureNet 5000 will not support earth recall. All phones are connected using standard PBX wiring, but remember, feature phones are polarity sensitive and must be wired correctly. When using a standard phone with FeatureNet 5000, features are accessed using the telephone keypad in a similar manner to star services. It is not possible to replace a feature phone with a standard telephone. It won't work. This is because the functionality of the line card differs for feature phones and standard phones. The operator's console has its own power supply, and connection is made via this 25-way cable and connector. If the customer requires an operator's console, a 6-wire link is provided from the concentrator to the connection box. This consists of 2 data pairs and a speech pair. The console forms part of the network equipment. And now to recap. FeatureNet 5000 uses 3 types of feature phone: the M5209, the M5312 with microphone, and the M5212 with the headset connection. The M518 add-on unit provides extra function keys. Feature phones and standard phones cannot be interchanged. The telephone doubler must only be used for FeatureNet telephones. You should refer to the user guides for more details on any of the telephone equipment. You may wish to stop the tape at this point to review the accompanying material. Now that we understand the concepts of FeatureNet and have seen the equipment used by the customer, let's take a look at the BT people who look after the FeatureNet network and their customers. There are 3 national centres which deal exclusively with FeatureNet. The Central Operations Unit. the COU, the FeatureNet Network Operations Unit, the FNOU, and the FeatureNet Technical Centre, the FTC. The COU is located at Oswestry and is responsible for building the network, the software, and allocating the required bandwidth for each customer. The FNOU are located in London and are responsible for the monitor and repair of the core network, including concentrator units. The FTC are located in London Docklands. They are the focal point for all FeatureNet operations and are responsible for the following: customer data build, billing, provision facilities, new customers, telephone feature changes, primary maintenance diagnostics, and the help desk for BT people. Now that we have seen how FeatureNet works and the people involved with it, let's see how we provide a customer with FeatureNet 5000. Account managers are in regular contact with our major customers as part of their day-to-day activities. They will be inviting selected customers to attend FeatureNet demonstrations which explain how this new service can help the customer improve his business and reduce costs. If a customer is interested, then an estimate is produced. If this is acceptable, then a detailed quotation will be produced with the FeatureNet Technical Centre and Worldwide Networks working closely together. Once agreement is reached, a firm order is placed and a contract is signed by the customer. A project manager from PM and BS, Project Management and Bid Support, is assigned and looks after the customer's order until the project is completed. This is done in conjunction with the Customer Service Centre. The FeatureNet team now start work. Data collectors from the FeatureNet Technical Centre are sent to the customer's premises to record the features required for each extension user. Their function is similar to that of a PBX planner. At the same time, Worldwide Networks begin work by planning the customer's network and ordering network equipment. Northern Telecom plan and survey for installation of the remote concentrators on behalf of BT. Once the concentrators have been installed, Worldwide Networks will install the customer's network software. Much of the installation work is covered by normal procedures. Cabling at the customer's premises, 2 megabit links, AC15A, customer premises equipment, stores ordering. This work is distributed to the field force via CSS or CAPS. Once all network hardware is in place, the FTC perform the feature programming on the DMS 100 switch. The customer's installation is then commissioned. At this point, the features are tested. We suggest that local field engineers get involved in order to become familiar with the system. As customers' telephones are installed, they are tested for dial tone and checked using a test sequence known as the station ringer test. This is accessed by keying 175 followed by the last 7 digits of the national number. This simple test will check the operation of all the telephone keys, indicators, the display, loudspeaker and volume control. Now that the system is in operation, the BT Sales Support Officer, SSO, will set up a training environment and train the customer's staff in small groups. Once all the staff have been shown how to use the new system, the SSO will assist with any operating queries that may arise. The customer's FeatureNet installation is now complete. You may wish to stop the tape at this point to review the accompanying material. In this section, we shall be looking at fault reporting on FeatureNet. For the customer, their service centre will be the first point of contact for fault reporting. The service centre will act as the front office to the customer and the FTC as the back office. The FTC will not normally contact the customer direct. Let's look at our FeatureNet 1000 customer in Bristol who has difficulty dialing their Leeds office. She reports this to the service centre where the details are recorded. The service centre receptionist will use structured questioning to obtain information from the customer. This filters out misoperation problems and non-FeatureNet faults. In this case, the fault receptionist hands on the fault to the FTC via CAMS. The receptionist in the FTC will pass the fault to a technical officer who performs primary diagnostics and in conjunction with the FNOU will identify where the problem is. He requests the local Customer Network Management Centre, CNMC, to test the access lines to the Leeds office, and they confirm that the customer's PBX equipment is causing the fault. If the equipment is BT maintained, the CNMC send an engineer to the site. The engineer locates and replaces a faulty line card in the PBX. The CNMC are told that the fault is clear. The CNMC inform the FTC, who then inform the service centre. The service centre contact the customer and tell them that the fault has been dealt with. If the fault is on non-BT maintained equipment, the fault is handed back to the customer. That was a situation which you may be familiar with. The fact that the customer uses FeatureNet made no difference to the field engineer in this case. Our FeatureNet 5000 customer has a problem with the features on one of their phones. The fault is reported in the same manner as before, and this time the fault is suspected to be on one of the feature phones. Where a fault is suspected on a telephone, then it can be proved by substituting a working spare unit.
Is it possible for me?
The customer may be asked to do this by the service centre when the fault is reported.
Okay.
If the customer does not have a spare telephone or is unwilling to change the instrument, then an engineer will be sent to the customer to perform this test for them. In this case, the engineer on site proves that the telephone is faulty and swaps the faulty phone for a new one. If no fault is found, he calls the FTC. He does not exchange the instrument just so a clear can be given back to the control. This would serve no purpose. It would waste money, as a perfectly good telephone could find its way into the repair loop only to be found RWT, right when tested. Having changed the telephone, the engineer now performs the station ringer test. There is nothing else that can be done by the engineer on site. Any feature changes can only be done from the FTC in Docklands. The operator's console must not be unplugged under any circumstances without first unplugging the headset. This is part of the network, and if unplugged without removing the headset, alarms will be raised at the FNOU in London. We have shown you two examples of a FeatureNet fault to illustrate the processes involved, and that working on FeatureNet is not really that different. So that concludes our look at FeatureNet. Help is always available for BT staff from the FeatureNet Help Desk, who can be contacted on 0800 289 914. Further information is contained in the material accompanying this video. This should be used as a basis for discussion in your team meeting or read by individuals.